What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and the backlash is still going for Dave Chappelle's latest special, The Closer. And Netflix is facing a ton of pressure, not only from the mainstream media, not only from the blue checkmark Twitter brigade, but also from some of their own employees. And I guess we shouldn't really be surprised, and Netflix shouldn't really be surprised, that when you go out of your way to hire woke SJW activists, that they turn right around and act like woke SJW activists. And you can clearly see the difference between the way the critics feel about this and the way the audience feels. The audience resoundingly absolutely loves what Dave Chappelle said, not only his message, but also the humor that was in The Closer, in this special. But some people at Netflix, like we've talked about, are very, very upset about this. They want to plan a walkout. They want to protest. They want to barge into meetings. They want to act like the losers and the thin-skinned weirdos that they are. However, Netflix is having none of it. Netflix has doubled down. Ted Sarandos doubles down on Dave Chappelle defense. Content doesn't directly translate to real-world harm. And as much as I have a problem with some of the things that are on Netflix, I love that message because it's true. Strictly speaking, content, words, entertainment, these things do not translate to real world harm. It doesn't matter if we're talking about TV, doesn't matter if we're talking about video games or streaming services. Now, I do think there's something to be said specifically for children's programming that is meant specifically to indoctrinate children. But when we're talking about people going out and committing violent acts, because that's what the accusation's about. They're saying that what Dave Chappelle is doing is leading to real world violence. That's kind of nonsense to me. If we want to argue about maybe another movie that may have actually had real world harm in the making of these things, like say Cuties, that is a completely different argument. But this is in response, and we're going to go through his statement and how he defends Dave Chappelle, because it's not the first time he's come out and said, we're not taking this down. It probably won't be the last, because these people continue to try to pressure this company to do what they want them to do. Netflix trans employees and allies plan walkout in protest of Dave Chappelle's special. Trans employees and allies at Netflix are planning a walkout on Wednesday, October 20th. So that's 6 days from now. This story is going to continue, guys. It's only going to continue. In protest of co-CEO Ted Sarandos' comments regarding Dave Chappelle's new Netflix special, The Closer. As reported by The Verge, the leader of the streamer's trans employee resource group, the fact that there is a trans employee resource group, whatever the fuck that means, may be one of the things that is leading to all these employees deciding they're going to walk out over simply a few words on one piece of programming on Netflix, which has thousands of things that it's currently streaming right now. This is who you have empowered with this nonsensical bullshit. Trans lives matter, trans rights matter. And as an organization, Netflix has continually failed to show deep care in our mission to entertain the world by repeatedly releasing content that harms the trans community and continually failing to create content that represents and uplifts trans content. We can and must do better. Netflix's most Twitter account, which is dedicated to LGBTQ plus content, posted on Wednesday. So you have a Twitter account associated with Netflix that is basically shading their own company right now. That's how far this is going. We can't always control what goes on screen. What we can control is what we create here and the point of view we bring to internal conversations. Look at this post, Jesus. Let's read this. Sorry we haven't been posting. This week fucking sucks. To be clear, as the queer and trans people who run this account, you can imagine the last couple of weeks have been hard. We can't always control what goes on screen, just like we said there, but we can control the point of view we bring to the conversation. We have been reading all your comments and using them to continue advocating for bigger and better queer representation. We see all of this going on, right? We see this activist, that person who barged into a meeting, who did get suspended for it. They're continuing to run their mouth. They're continuing to play victim and pretend as if this is actually leading, right? As if Dave Chappelle out there making jokes about how thin-skinned the trans community is, as if that is actually leading to them being harmed in real life. That's what these people think. That's what people like this actually think. Libs of TikTok. Dave Chappelle's jokes can get black trans people murdered. Let's listen to this insanity.
For 37 minutes, Dave Chappelle made jokes at my expense. Literally about my identity, forgetting that I too live at the intersection of being both black and queer. And trans.
It's like, I don't know what pronouns to use, so I'm just going to say it's like this person almost had to tack that on the end. Oh, by the way, I'm trans too. I almost forgot. It's so easy to forget because I attach all these labels to myself, but I'm black, I'm queer, and I'm trans too. Not sure how you almost forget that one, but let's continue on.
Because tone-deaf jokes like that can get us murdered. Tone-deaf jokes like that call for our murder. Tone-deaf jokes like that ignore my entire existence.
Now they're saying they're saying that Dave Chappelle's jokes are calling for harm like that. This is true insanity. And shout out to Ted Sarandos for doubling down and saying that this is not coming down. After addressing top leadership in a Friday memo, Sarandos sent an email on Monday to all staff, some of whom increasingly expressed outrage over jokes about the trans community and have scheduled a walkout. We know that a number of you have been left angry, disappointed, and hurt by our decision to put Dave Chappelle's latest special on Netflix. With The Closer, we understand the concern is not about offensive to some content, but titles which could increase real-world harm, such as further marginalizing already marginalized groups. Last year, we heard similar concerns about 365 days and violence against women. While some employees disagree, we have a strong belief that content on screen doesn't directly translate to real-world harm. Basically, shut the fuck up. The strongest evidence to support this is that violence on screen has grown hugely over the last 30 years, especially with first-person shooter games, yet violent crime has fallen significantly in many countries. Adults can watch violence, assault, abuse, or enjoy shocking stand-up comedy without it causing them to harm others. When contacted by Variety for comment, queer media watchdog GLAAD said it was founded 36 years ago because media representation has consequences. Authentic media stories about LGBTQ plus IAS whatever lives have been cited as directly responsible for increasing public support for issues like marriage equality. But film and TV have also been filled with stereotypes and misinformation about us for decades, leading to real-world harm, especially for trans people and LGBTQ plus people of color. Why? Why? I'm asking a real fucking question to GLAAD, to any of you fucking idiots who are watching this right now that agree with this nonsense, this narrative, that somehow trans people, and specifically LGBTQ people of color, are more so affected by these jokes or whatever than anyone else. What the fuck is this even talking about? Remember, a couple videos ago, we talked about this trans activist who works at Netflix who barged into a meeting. She tried to list all these people who had been killed. There was nothing about any of those individuals that indicated that what had happened to them had anything to do with them being trans. It literally could have been any person for any reason. Nothing about them specifically being trans. But everything is victimhood for this community, which is why what Dave Chappelle has said is ringing so true. What we object to is the harm that content like this does to the trans community, especially trans people of color. What the fuck? Again, this same weirdo, Tara Field, this same weirdo who I literally just talked about her. I didn't even know this was in the article. And very specifically, black trans women. People who look like me aren't getting killed. There's not many people that look like you in the world. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm a white woman. Where I think we might have missed the quote right here on this side. Make no mistake, Chappelle's alleged jokes do not impact hypothetical people. They in fact cause real harm to transgender and non-binary viewers and black LGBTQ youth who may have once looked up to him as a role model. This is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And Netflix is saying, hey, weirdos, hey, lunatics, hey, losers, go fuck yourself. This doesn't equate to real world harm. We're keeping it on the platform. You can get fucked. And it's funny. It is funny to watch these people absolutely freak out. And it's going to continue to go on. Next, what is that, Wednesday? Next Wednesday, this protest is scheduled for. We'll see what happens. I'm sure more stories will come out, but you know we're going to talk about it right here. What do you guys think about the closer, the backlash, all of this nonsense? Let me know in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.